AITA for getting angry at my foster mother's way of fixing me. Okay, so I have lived with foster carers A, 38F, and B, 40M, for 11 years. The reason I was put into foster care is because of the death of my younger baby sister, 14 months, when I was 4. To put it lightly, it wasn't exactly natural causes, and was caused by a bio parent, if you get what I'm trying to say. And I can vividly remember everything around those circumstances, think about it every day and mourn the loss of my sister. The thing is, this has caused a rather intense reaction to young children. I can't be around kids under the age of 4, approximately, without having panic attacks, flashbacks, or screaming fits. I've tried to get professional help, but counselors say they aren't trained enough to help me, and therapists have extremely long waiting lists. Neither social services or my carers are willing to pay for private therapy, and I can't afford it on my part-time job. The issue was also ignored/mocked by my family for a while, since they didn't know the exact circumstances of me going into care, so for years they would trigger me on purpose because they thought it was funny. I've tried building up a tolerance by watching YouTube videos, but it isn't much help. Although I am almost completely functional in public now, I wasn't until about January this year. In the last few years, the siblings of both A and B have had babies. 2 to each sibling, 6 babies total, all under the age of 4 currently, the oldest being 3. I can't see these children, so usually end up in a back room somewhere or on the streets walking circles when we go to see the kids/they come to us. A and A's mom have decided that since I'm nearly an adult now, it's time for me to grow up and fix myself, because it's awkward to have a kid that can't see the babies. So over the last 2 years they've begun lying to me. They would take me out, saying we're going one place, then go to the baby's house. They'd then get angry when I'd have panic attacks. Every Christmas they'll say the babies aren't coming round, then shove the babies in my face and get angry when I remove myself from the room, saying I'm ruining Christmas. We'll go to other relatives' houses and then pretend they told me all along that the babies were going to be there. I don't mind going as much, it's just the fact they won't tell me means I'm usually unprepared. For example, one winter I ended up going for a walk in below zero temperatures in a t-shirt because I was told we were going to my uncle's, which has rooms I can go in to avoid babies, but we ended up at A's brother's, which doesn't have rooms I can go in. I also got in trouble that time for showing A up in front of extended family for my reaction to the babies, aka 3 panic attacks back to back, which is why I then spent hours in the cold. They also didn't tell me another relative was pregnant until she had the baby and we were going to see it. They told me on the car journey to the hospital. I found out today that all this has been part of a plan to secretly try fix my phobia, because I'm getting too old for being scared of babies. I've also been told I'm being pathetic, overreacting, being offensive and disturbing the mothers/babies. I got mad. It's not my fault I witnessed the tragedy of my sister's death when I was so young, and lying to me about it only causes me more issues. I said in being in awe. So, AITA? Edit, thank you to everyone who's commented. I wasn't expecting such a response, to be honest, and it made me cry a bit because sometimes I feel like I'm going mad. I will book an appointment with a GP soon. I'm getting a new social worker and an advocate soon, so we'll talk to them too. I have a job already, but the pay is very minimal, so I'm trying to get a couple more for over the summer, but finding jobs is quite difficult. I am saving to try get out. If it gets far worse than this, I have a friend who will let me stay at hers, but her place is small, so it's not the best long term. I'm not sure what will happen from here. Updates will probably be slow, if any. Edit 2, I also feel quite guilty going against my carers because it feels like I owe them. But there's other stuff that's happened too in the last year that could be said to be worse than this, so really it does need reporting. However, A denies all constantly and doesn't believe she's ever in the wrong. She's never apologized for anything. Not really sure how she'd react to me reporting this. Edit 3, today I get to spend 4 hours on a desk chair crammed in a random corner because the bed I'm staying in, at B's parents', has the cot next to it and the babies are visiting. Edit 4, and I've been kicked out because I'm invading A's space. Right after a lecture where she blamed me for my fear.
Relevant comments. Sockmaster 9273. NTA, hope you are saving up so you can move out when you turn 18. I understand them wanting to help you, but they are not doing it the right way. Yes, you should be around kids without having panic attacks. Surprising you with a baby clearly isn't working.
OP, I'm trying. I've got a friend I can move in with if things get real bad, but for now I kinda walk on eggshells. There's more that's not in this post. I'm trying to get a couple more jobs so I can save faster. I've never felt so validated. I thought I was insane for my fear.
Brelowy. I'm so sorry, those people absolutely should not be foster parents at all. Have you told your social worker that they are intentionally triggering your trauma? It's scary to think they'd get another kid after you and treat them in the same cruel way. NTA at all.
OP, they won't get another kid after me. They have my little siblings too, but I know they never really wanted kids. They felt obligated since they're technically my cousins. I'll talk to my new social worker when I get them, current one is leaving soon.
PHDOH. Have you tried discussing this with B for him to talk to his wife? Is that safe for you to do?
OP, he has a tendency to not stand up to his wife. She also denies a lot to him. There was a situation with some really bad stuff she said to me April 2024 which B found out about in October. He was gonna call the social worker about it, but she persuaded him that I was lying to make her look bad. We also had a conversation about 4 hours back where A tried to accuse me of faking my phobia with B present, and all that's happened when I've argued back is that I'm now banned from family holidays. And I got kicked out the house for a few hours. I'm gonna do an update about some of the stuff that's happened in the last 24 hours I think, but at the end of the week once I've also contacted my GP and social worker. Update. A couple months ago I made a post about my foster mother's way of handling my trauma response to seeing/being in the vicinity of babies. Basically, I, 17M, have an extreme trauma response to babies ranging from breakdowns, disassociation and panic attacks depending on situation, and it was caused by childhood events that landed me in foster care. To put it lightly, my foster mother doesn't like my trauma responses. I'm here with an update. A few people had asked for updates a while ago under the original post. Here it is. After that initial post there was a major argument where my foster mom attempted to blame my fear on myself, saying I was doing it to attention seek, and after that she said I would no longer be allowed to see this side of the family. Conveniently, last week when they were visiting family, my foster mom arranged an orthodontist appointment that meant I couldn't go, in complete honesty, a blessing, because whilst I really want to see my grandparents still, I didn't particularly want to go through what had happened the previous holiday again. I was left behind with my uncle. My old college spoke to my independent reviewing officer, sorta like an outside social worker who isn't meant to side with either the parents or kids from my understanding, a sorta neutral person. There was stuff my carers were telling workers in meetings that wasn't correlating with what my college had been told by myself, so they reported it. My little sister also reported some stuff, so in the end I didn't bring up issues, it was others around me. So today, the IRO came to speak to me alone. I reported all the baby situation stuff, and discovered my carers have in fact been suggested to take therapy training to help me handle my trauma, but had turned it down, believing they didn't need it. I also reported some other stuff as well. I now know my options, and in 5 months I turn 18. I believe the best option now is for me to move out at 18, which will be financially supported by the local council and social services. I currently don't have a proper job because my national insurance number hasn't been sorted yet, so no one will hire me, but I should be getting it in the next few weeks. Hopefully then I can get a job which will help with moving out. From what I understand, with my situation the local council will cover rent if it's under £90 per week, through a social housing scheme, then I get about £75 a week for food and stuff. If I want somewhere with a higher rent, I cover the costs. I'll also be getting universal credit once I turn 18. I believe a part-time job will be best to make living more financially comfortable even with the monetary support though. But yeah, update. Sorry it's been a while, and thank you to everyone who commented on my original post with help and sympathy. If anyone has any questions I can answer them. Hopefully things will get better now.
Relevant comments. See Championship 4017. Your foster mom literally refused trauma training and then blamed you for your trauma exploding head. Matt Davies. And now OP can rightfully blame her. So you're saying I was a bad mom? 100%, absolutely, with zero doubts. JDZFB. Dude, your foster family are monsters. This issue could have been worked through easily when you were younger with a little support from a real therapist. Instead they chose to traumatize the fuck out of an already traumatized kid and then bully you for your trauma response. Those fuckers shouldn't be allowed around children. I'm sorry they failed you, OP. I'm glad you've been able to make progress towards getting TF out of there.